Shabbat Shalom. The parasha of Bereshit, as its name implies, is a portion of firsts. Amongst them is the first case of finger-pointing in the Bible. After Adam and Eve had eaten from the forbidden tree, they were confronted by God. And what follows was nothing short of a blame fest. As the Torah records it, God confronted them and said, "Did you eat of the tree which I had forbidden you to eat?" The man said, "The woman you put at my side, she gave me of the tree and I ate." And the Lord said to the woman, "What is this you have done?" The woman replied, "The serpent duped me and I ate." Adam blames God. Eve blames the serpent, and if the serpent would have been asked, I'm quite sure he would have found something or someone to blame. What happens is that each receives a punishment. And here the Torah offers us an eternal reminder that God holds us accountable for our words, God holds us accountable for our deeds, whether we believe we are the victims or the guilty party. Reb Mendel Futterfass, of blessed memory, survived Stalin's gulags, his forced labor camps. Eventually he was able to leave Russia and meet his family in London and eventually make Aliyah. And in Israel he was a teacher of great note and affected many lives. Oftentimes he would tell stories of the gulag and learn ethical lessons. Here's one that has to do with blame. It was forbidden to play cards in the gulag. One day, one of the inmates was able to smuggle a deck of cards into the gulag, and the men passed their time playing cards, and then an informant shared that information with the guards, and the guards came and searched for the cards, but they were unsuccessful. Days passed, the men continued to play cards, the informant informed, and the guards began to become increasingly agitated because here these inmates were putting one over on them. So they did a full-scale search, every inch of the cell, all of their clothing, and still the cards could not be found. And the guards left, and magically the cards appeared and the men began to play. Well, the rabbi asked one of the men, "How did you do that? It's amazing." He said, "Rabbi, we're pickpockets. We can take things out of a person's pocket. We can put something back in. In this case, when the guards came, we put a deck of cards in one of the pockets of the guards. And when they prepared to leave, well, we just took it back out again." And from this, the rabbi learned a lesson about blame. Because it never occurred to the guards to check their own pockets. The lesson is clear. If you want to make an accurate assessment of reality, start your search by checking your own pockets. Often when we take a spiritual or personal inventory, we often blame those around us or our circumstances. Children often say, "It's my parents' fault." We blame our spouses, sometimes our education, our situation. But when do we take stock of ourselves? When do we look into our own pockets before we begin to point the finger elsewhere? And Reb Mendel finished this lesson by saying, remember that whenever you point the finger at someone else, you're pointing 3 fingers at yourself. The first case of finger pointing took place in the Garden of Eden. It would appear that their descendants have learned very little since that time. We would all do well to take stock of ourselves before we point the finger at anyone else. In other words, let's pay attention to the 3 fingers pointing to us before we place blame on anyone else. Shabbat Shalom.